What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And I just watched a movie called Malignant, starring Annabelle Wallis, MADISON, and George Young. First of all, James Wan. Let's get into the directorial history of James Wan. James Wan, believe it or not, started off with the Saw franchise. Saw 1, 2, 3. He was behind every single one of them, even Spiral. And you know how I feel about this. At one point, the Saw franchise lost its momentum. But I still try to hang in there to see if there was any hope. There was not. Yeah, he was behind all of that. I forget that sometimes. Then later on, he was a startup. Or he was in the startup. He was behind every single one of these. The whole Insidious / Conjuring / Nun / Annabelle debacle. He did all those too. I had no earthly idea he had anything to do with that, because really, and you know me by now, that the only movie I saw within that was the Annabelle movie. So I definitely would have figured that out. And then he's also had some random films like Furious 7 or Aquaman. Okay? So I guess what my whole point and question here is, James Wan doesn't have a distinctive directing style. Alright? There is no movie directed by him that I can immediately say, hey, yeah, I can tell James Wan has something to do with this. This got James Wan written all over it. I can't do that with him. That is what's made me forget him so many times. So my question is, will Malignant be the film that brings out the James Wan style? That makes me say, now I see something in his directing powers that I can also see in future movies. We're about to find out. Let's go. Malignant, for those who don't know, for those who are not aware, honestly, I believe if I didn't have HBO Max, I would have no idea this movie existed. Okay? Because I don't see this being pumped up anywhere else that much. Or unless you're a big James Wan fan. And this wouldn't work for me because I always forget that he even existed. Right? So I'm going to give you guys a pass this time. I'm going to give you guys a pass. Malignant. Pretty much about a woman named Madison who's in an abusive marriage. And one night, things get messy, of course. The husband gets violent. Things happen. And in the midst of all this, a mysterious force or presence enters the house and murders the husband. And now Madison is wondering what happened, and so are the authorities. Alright? And Madison starts to see visions of other murders happening by this mysterious force. Whoever it is. Alright? Turns out there's a deeper connection than you think. And that's the premise of the movie. Positives. I have to say, and let me tell a little backstory behind me watching this movie. I was watching this with a friend, and she even pointed this out. And don't worry, because I'm not, even when I'm watching a movie with somebody, I'm not influenced by what they think. Trust me. I was stone cold the whole time on my own zone. But she was pointing out some interesting facts along the way, and just thinking and saying what if, and what if this, and what if that. Now, yeah, I thought about that too. I was already going to think that. That's how my mind operates when I watch movies. So it's obvious that this movie made it very interesting to sort of follow the mystery, trying to figure out what's going on there. Not only if the twist or whatever, just how did this happen? What is the connection with this? How is this going to spark off this to happen? It was very fun trying to figure it out. It was like we were like the Scooby-Doo gang, just trying to find the mystery, find the killer. Okay, and so it made you interact mentally with this film. And I enjoyed that about it wholeheartedly. Another positive about this. Now, I enjoy a good slasher film. All right. And so with this movie, surprisingly, it's not only one of those paranormal, somewhat paranormal, mystery, whatever, if you can call it that. It's also very much a slasher film, to the point where the killer's attacks are relentless. They don't let up. They don't let up at all. They go straight for it. This killer does not play with their victims, all right, at all. They do not play around. There is no games to be brought up here. Okay, it's all serious. It's all business, personal, but business at the same time. And with that, there is a certain fighting scene. Yes, a fighting scene in this movie that took me by surprise, because the killer, once it was surrounded, it just broke out into this plethora of like moves, and it was like a fighting sequence, like all of a sudden the killer was acrobatic and a ninja at the same damn time. All right, and that, while that has some issues and problems and questions with me, I did get entertained by it. I was very entertained by that. I did enjoy it. I cannot deny that for 1 second. I enjoyed that a lot. It was kind of cool. It's kind of cool. All right. But we'll get into the problems about that later on. And so now my last positive about this was the twist. And of course, it doesn't have to be mentioned at all, but I'm not going to bring up what the twist was. But let's just say the way this happened, even when you see most of the details and you're figuring things out and trying to break things down, like me and my friend were trying to do. Me and her got close, but there is nothing that will prepare you for what really is going on with this. Okay, it is incredibly crazy. It's crazy what the true thing that is happening, the actual problem here of what's going on in this movie. I'm trying to be careful of how I say this, all right? Because you might think you know what's going on, but you have no earthly idea how this twist is going to turn out. Okay, I'm just going to warn you right now. All right, and there's an issue with that. There's also a bad side, a downside to how that twist turned out. All right, so let's get into the negatives. First negative, the action scene that occurred. Matter of fact, I think it happened twice. The killer was surrounded twice. There's a question that comes, a very important question that comes up with this. How did the killer, or what time in the killer's life did they have to learn how to fight like that? it also at question, there's some other things that physically cannot be possible in this movie with the fight scenes and the way the killer would get away when they were busted or the police thought they had this killer, and the killer would do like all kinds of parkour type of moves. Where did they learn that from? Where? I doubt that this killer had time to practice or go to a dojo to learn any of this. And you can't just say purely because they're crazy. That's how they did it. Because when you're crazy, you don't know what you're going to do. That's not an excuse with this. That's not going to fly here. That is not possible. That just because you are a little loony, that you are able to learn about 6 different styles of martial arts, okay, just to be a killer. That's what was going on here. All right, and even though I enjoyed that's different. It absolutely makes no sense. All right. A second negative about this, and this is a mixture. There were some decisions made by the characters that were a little inaccurate. Okay, that also made no sense at all. I don't think the director, Mr. James Wan, gave this a lot of thought. First, I pointed out and I noticed that there was a detail from the little sister of Madison's character that in real life, the little sister would have known this a long time ago about her older sister. There wouldn't have had to be any reveal, not this late, not at this later point in life. If any reveal has happened, it would have been a long time ago when they were younger. They wouldn't have waited this long for this. And I can't say what the reveal is, but usually how these things go, it does not take this long to figure that out. It really doesn't. It really, if you're not told sooner or later, then you're going to do your little detective work and be like, oh, well, that makes sense. I kind of figure out that this is not that. As a little brother, I would have, if this was a thing with me and my brother, I would have figured this a long time ago. Okay, let's just say that. Another thing with this character flaws, there were not a good range of acting skills going on here. Okay, let's just give an example for one time with the abusive husband. The abusive husband beat his wife, right? And he slammed her against the wall. One good time, one hard slam against the wall. Right after he slammed her against the wall, he then apologizes. And I'm not saying that abusive husbands don't apologize, because they apologize a lot of times. They don't mean it. They don't know what they're doing, whatever. But the way that he apologized was so bland and almost unresponsive. Was just, it's not trust me, that's not the way that somebody who just did that would react. Okay, I would imagine that they would be like, look what you made me do. That's the reaction of a lot of abusive partners or whatever. They try to put the blame still on the other person of what they're doing. But the way this was done, no, not at all. That was a bad segue to how he handled that. No way, man. That's not believable. My last problem and issue with this, last negative. Let's go back to that twist, all right? Because even though the twist is just so insane, it's also insane, okay? It's if you're trying to make this to where it's supposed to be a little realistic to it or whatever they're trying to do with this, there is no way that the way things happen with this, that it would be able to happen in real life. And I know this is just a movie, but it starts to get ridiculous with that twist. It's a little ridiculous and physically impossible. Once again, Not only the fighting moves, just the whole reveal itself on this twist. It's not even physically possible for this to happen. If it is, show me some records of this. That this is physically something that has happened before. Like this. Like the way that this happened. Okay? It's just, the way that it's done is just, no. No. No, we're not going to sit here and do this. We're not going to do this, man. Okay? We're not going to do this. And for a lot of that, I got to give this an I. Just an I. Yes, yes. And not only that, it wasn't really that scary. Entertaining, not scary. Alright? Which didn't help. Love the slashing, but I wasn't... the adrenaline was not pumping like that for horror. Alright, let's just put it like that. So, I need you to like, share this video, and if you haven't subscribed, you better subscribe.